Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Baptized and Clueless. I'm your host Yusuf, along with my co-host Wesley. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Yusuf.
Oh, glad to have you here, man. And today we have a returning special guest. We
Yeah,
have our man here,
yeah.
Malik. Malik is in the house. Malik,
Woo,
how you
woo, woo,
doing?
Yes,
woo.
sir. Yes, sir. Glad
Glad
to
to
be back. Glad to be
glad to have
back.
you,
Yeah.
man. For those who caught it, Malik's been here before, giving his testimony and his interview. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one of the most clicked interviews that we've had for the top of this year, which is amazing.
Mm.
And today he's joining us because we're going to go on a little topic. We want to talk about man's rebellious ways. And so today's episode is Rebel Without a Pause.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're looking in the book of Numbers. We're looking at chapter 12 in Numbers because up to this point, people of Israel have already rebelled so many times, right? And the
Yeah.
rebellion is not based on just a simple fact of rebellion. It's two things. It's one, their lack of faith, and also the fact that they are ungrateful. I was trying to find a different way to say it, but they're just ungrateful because they've seen the things God has done for them. Yet still, it doesn't seem to be enough. And we've
Mm-hmm.
pointed this out in previous episodes before that it's gotten to the point where they wish they were back in the captivity that they were in before. And for those of us who may say, I can't believe they did that, you still do that today.
Yeah.
You miss the
Yeah.
days of the clubbing, the drinking, the running around with whichever mate you're trying to find at the time. And you know it was empty. That's the reason why you turned to Christ. So let's not give the people in the past too much of a hard time, but they did do their thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Numbers 12 starts off with basically it's about the complaints of Miriam and Aaron. And as everyone knows, uh, Aaron and Miriam are siblings, of course, and Aaron will be anointed, but Aaron got good responsibilities being the side arm of Moses.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we hear Aaron's name, we're like, he should know better. But Aaron is human, last we checked, right? So Miriam and Aaron criticized Moses because he married a Cushite woman. He
Mm-hmm.
married a Cushite woman long before he went back to go get the people out of Egypt. So it's kind of weird that they complain, but they find that as reason to complain now. But I believe they probably just use as an excuse because what they really want to complain about was the fact that um, how come why is it seems that the Lord only speaks through Moses? Hasn't he spoken through us as well?
Right,
And
right.
they're comparing themselves to Moses. I'm like, you're comparing yourself to Moses. No humility in that. I mean, while he was doing what he was doing in Egypt, following God's orders, Aaron's right there with him. So how do you get this? How do you get this wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And now you start to complain that, what about us? And the fact that his sister Miriam's here talking about what about us, like, yeah, what about you, Miriam? Last I checked, you were mentioned here or there, maybe not even that much. And here you are standing up to complain about Moses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, their complaints don't fall on deaf ears. Because the Lord is like, what? They're talking about my Moses? Paraphrasing, of course. So immediately the Lord called to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, and he says to them, go out to the tabernacle. Right? This is Numbers 12, verse 4.
Oh, yeah.
Tells them to go out to the tabernacle. All three of you go. And so the three of them went to the tabernacle. Then the Lord descended in the pillar of the cloud and stood at the entrance of the tabernacle. And he says, Aaron and Miriam. And it has exclamation marks, so it's in a quiet whisper like we get these days. He called and they stepped forward, and the Lord said to them, now listen to what I say. If there were prophets among you, I, the Lord, would reveal myself in visions. I would speak to them in dreams, but not with my servant Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Of all my house, he is the one I trust. Let's just pause right there. Can you imagine God saying he
Yeah.
trusts you?
Yeah.
I think we overlook the beautiful relationship Moses has with God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he stumbled, but homeboy pretty much like got a 9 out of 10. He's been like doing what was told, right? Even with the fears he had, even with the things he had to overcome. And you hear God say that he trusts you. Like, that should give you a boost of confidence, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And God says,
Definitely.
I speak to him face to face, clearly, and not in riddles. So God knows he can do the riddles because we know
Mm-hmm.
Jesus did. Right? He sees the Lord as he is, talking about Moses, of course. So why were you not afraid to criticize my servant Moses? And that's the thing. Listen, I'm guilty of criticizing. I am. Not as much today as I have been in my past, but you don't know what God is doing with someone. You don't know if He's using them for a particular thing, and so to really go about criticizing what they're doing, you're speaking based on your own understanding. You don't understand what God has planned for them, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
to continue through, the Lord was very angry with them, and He departed. So okay, just imagine if the Lord stomped off, the earth would be crushed because He'd be stomping everything, right? But the Lord departed in anger, and the cloud moved from above the tabernacle, and there stood Miriam, her skin as white as snow from leprosy. Now, when Aaron saw this, what had happened to her, he cried out to Moses, "Oh, my master, look at that." Aaron remembers this place. Only after disasters. That reminds me of everybody else here today, right? We pretty much remember once we fall flat, like, oh, that's
Yeah.
right. I should be leading my own understanding. And Aaron cries out, "Please don't punish us for this sin we have so foolishly committed." Right? Now, I know, Malik, you have a very, very interesting take on Miriam turning pale white due to leprosy. You want to chime in on that for us?
So we'll have to go back just slightly.
Yeah, sure.
So when Miriam spoke against Moses,
Mm-hmm.
when you read the Hebrew text that's there, it's in singular. So when you're seeing Miriam as well as Aaron, it's showing that Miriam singular there
Yeah,
spoke to Aaron, and because she's the eldest, obviously as a sibling, you follow your older sibling,
right.
right? So it shows that Miriam spoke against Zipporah, which of course is Moses' wife,
Life.
to
Mm-hmm.
Aaron,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, it probably persuaded Aaron in a way where it's like, you know what, that does make sense because um, Moses made me his mouthpiece. We see that after
Yeah.
the burning bush, um, God made Moses a god to Aaron and the Pharaoh. So everything that Moses says,
It's the
it's
word
the
of
word
God.
of God.
Yeah.
And Aaron was Moses's prophet.
Yeah.
So, his head might have swelled up a little bit when Miriam was saying that. That's true because I do deliver the message as well. He could have been personally thinking about it himself as well as other Levites that God now established to
Right.
be
To be
that
priest,
center,
to be high priest.
right?
Yeah.
Because exactly, we see where God put the different tribes and he made the Levites a center focus
Mm-hmm.
for that sanctuary. So that probably gassed up Aaron in that mindset. And when they spoke against Moses, this is what really set God off, right?
Right.
Because it was a reminder to you, Moses is your God, because I speak directly to Moses,
Yeah. When you
Yeah.
rebel
right?
against Moses, rebel
So,
against me. Yeah.
exactly. So when they spoke against Zipporah, right, which honestly they don't even know that Zipporah is actually a descendant of Abraham, because you
Right.
see that Abraham got married after Sarah passed away. He got married a second time,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the children that he had was named Medan, right? And Medan ended up creating this whole area, which was close to the Arabs, right? And that was described as Midian, right? So the high priest of that time, when he had Zipporah, you can clearly see that Zipporah knew their custom because when God came to
Who's familiar with them,
kill
right?
Moses at the lodge,
Mm-hmm.
she knew to circumcise the
That's
children,
right. That's right.
right?
That's
So
right.
now you have to ask yourself, how did she know to circumcise the two children? It's
Right.
because she knows the
Know the
customs,
customs. You gotta love
right?
Malik,
Because her
man.
father's a high priest that descended from Abraham. So 400 years, almost 500 years later,
Mm-hmm.
right? When they have this whole thing, Moses comes about, you see that obviously they don't know the genealogy. Us as the readers, we know the
We have the
genealogy.
advantage of looking at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they don't know that. So when Miriam spoke against Moses, she doesn't understand that she's also speaking against a descendant. And I think a Cushite is a description because of
That's
how
right.
close Midian is
Mm-hmm.
to the Arabs. It was a description because you see that Zipporah has a darker skin. So it was showing almost like a racism type
Yeah, I was thinking the
mentality
same thing.
when Miriam is having that description. Why is he with this
Can I just point out?
Cushite woman?
Can I just point out something that here you are trying to point it out that why did he marry her? He got married to her long before you came on the scene for this particular time.
Correct.
And God didn't
Correct.
smite him for it. God didn't disown him. God spoke even
Mhm.
more through him, not because of it, but because God's with him. And here you are trying to pick out something that you have an
You're
issue with.
questioning it. Yeah. And you had no idea that she's a descendant of Abraham anyway. It's not even outside of the purview of what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So because of that, you know, this is what led to God coming down and saying, listen, when you speak against Moses, you speak against me.
Yeah.
Almost like, do you not remember that I made Moses a God to you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you disrespect Moses, you're directly disrespecting me. Do you not fear Moses? Right?
Mm.
So he came from that sort of purview, almost like you're directly talking about me. God took that personal, right?
Yeah.
Because he's already sent Moses as the God to Aaron, right? So I believe that God made an example out of Miriam, and you see that once God did leave and Miriam was leprous, you see instantly Aaron prostrates himself to Moses and calls him Lord, and he goes directly back to treating Moses as God.
Yeah.
Right? Like he instantly did a 180 and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
And when they
I
call
missed my
Moses
place. He
Lord,
repents.
it's not the same Lord as they're talking about with God.
Correct.
That's something that
Correct.
we've established for. And I think it's to remind them more so that that Moses is their master.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of that's who they serve through Moses. Everything they do is serve through Moses for God. Because God tells everything to Moses for them to do. So yeah, the titles and the intricacy is really close, but they completely forgot everything on what their position was. So that is definitely a problem. So yeah, so now she's a leper, and he pretty much lets them know, like, as Aaron's begging, of course Moses, not even in any state hesitation, comes out and says, "Lord, could you?" And the Lord just lets them know, like, listen, she's gonna have to step outside the camp for 7 days, just like anyone else who's done anything that was wrong, treated the same way. And then after 7 days, then she can come back in. Like he started mercy, but he just had to show them enough. And we know he could have done a lot worse. Like the leprosy was 7 days. She's fortunate. She's really fortunate, right?
And that part is very important because you see that in verse 14 that that God said to Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, would she not bear her dishonor for 7 days?
Exactly.
Right? So it's like you still, regardless of repenting or not, there still needs to be some form of atonement. Exactly. For those actions.
Yeah.
Right? Because God is just and he's unchanging. And if he goes against that, he's going against his nature.
Right.
So you still need to be punished for what you did in the first place. I forgive you and I love you, but as a father, you still need to be punished for this action.
So can we open up for a second here? Because let's just be real with current times. We will ask for forgiveness, and we expect there not to be any punishments, no fallout, no consequence. Sometimes it may feel like it isn't. It may end up being down the road, and you don't necessarily put two and two together. But sometimes it's immediate, and you cry out more like, I can't believe this still happened. Like, you still did what you did. The consequence may be a little harsh for you, but if you're forgiven and he's picking you back up to redirect you to where you should be, that's what we should be looking at. But let's face it, we're fleshly, we're weak, and so when we have to get some little punishment, it does seem extreme, but we forget what we did to earn that. And that's our problem, our selective amnesia.
Yeah.
And I think most people miss that because you have to remember, even in the Old Testament, it could have been something almost simple, like when the one of the tribesmen of Judah stole some of God's earnings when they took over that city, and he stole and hid it in his tent. He got stoned to death, right? And people don't understand the type of forgiveness that we have today. It was nowhere near acceptable back then. Back then, when you disobey God's commandment, that is death for you. There is no coming back from that.
We're living in a time of
Right?
grace.
Exactly.
So grace. It's so, oh man, people don't get it.
Like how many times in the Bible does God say to Moses that if they rebel, they will die?
Yes. Yes. And,
Even
and,
Aaron's children, when they put the censer on with the fire,
yes,
God
they took so
instantly
long.
took them.
Mm-hmm.
Instantly took them.
And that would
There
happen
was
to
no room
anybody.
for conversation.
Yeah, that would have been anyone. And for us, we're like, that's so extreme. But it's like, back then, Jesus didn't come yet. So that great spirit that we have, that we so live in lavishly,
Yeah.
and sometimes take for granted just based on our actions, like they didn't have back then. So when we get
Mhm.
upset with how they were back then, it's like, yes, they saw great miracles. Yes, they walked through great things. They still had the same sinful heart that we have today.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
the consequences were extreme because there was no grace in the same way. God gave grace to them, of course, but I'm just saying the things that we're doing today and people are burning up on the spot.
Mm.
Come on, you know it's too late
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And it comes
that's
from
why.
that mentality. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna just say that's why you know, God had to bring Jesus, because Jesus was the one that like felt how flesh was, how flesh was on us, and Jesus is the one that, you know, mediates to God to give us another chance, because Jesus actually felt how, you know, how it is to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, take on sin and,
Yeah,
you know, all that.
yeah, yeah. I just thought about that just the other night. I was like, you know, transparency here. I've had thoughts in the past of like, you know, he's God, comes down, dies. I'm like, he knows the whole plan anyways. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, and I'm not trying to be blasphemous, but I'm like, a question to myself, was it really that hard for him? And then I realized, wait, he came down, became human. So all the flaws that we have,
Yeah.
he had with him. So he had to fight it
He took it
himself.
all on.
Yeah.
That's the
That's right.
crazy part. Didn't have to. He could have got that spirit inside him and like, don't feel anything. But I'll just, give it the ghost when I'm ready. No, he allowed himself to feel it. He allowed himself to feel the shame. He allowed
Yeah.
himself to feel like he felt what we felt, but because he is God, he didn't take it on the same way, of course.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, we can't even like humble ourselves for a minute to take criticism.
Mm.
And he's the Almighty Creator, and he took on physical punishment, emotional punishment, verbal
Yeah.
punishment. He took on disrespect. He took on betrayal. He
Yeah.
took on physical pain. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He didn't
Yeah.
have
Still
to.
forgave it all. And still forgave it all.
He's so
Right.
faithful that he goes through the process that he knows we have to go through. He didn't
Mm.
skip it, which I know I would have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I'll go down there, but let's make sure that my nerve endings can't feel nothing. And I'll just give it up at 1 o'clock because I'll give it a ghost then, and no big deal. He
Mm.
goes to the order like when we tell people or when we say in society that people need to love themselves and respect themselves,
Mm.
he loves himself and respects himself because he follows his word. He sticks to his word.
Yeah.
God's view on that. For you to knowingly come down, to take on flesh,
Yes.
to go through that struggle,
Yes.
knowing that you're going to die, right?
Yes.
For people that are still going to be ungrateful, that's another
Generations.
category. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a whole another category. Like most people would say, why am I even going down there? What am I
Yeah.
even going to take this pain and suffering for? When down the generation, people are going to either forget about my name, they're going to talk dirt on my name, try to
Mhm.
make it sound like I don't even exist. The
Yeah.
crucifixion never happened,
We
right?
can't take
Yeah.
people's
And
back talk and we get upset and
that's
offended.
right. That's right. Like you can't even have someone adjust their tie without them taking it a type of way.
Right? You're gonna wear it like that? That's how you're gonna wear that tie? Just like that? It's like,
Yeah.
yo,
Yeah, I don't think that hat goes with those shoes. And you're like, you see someone get like prideful about it. It's like, brother, what are we really doing?
Yeah.
decide not to talk to him for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, I don't like the way he talked about my hat. Like, brother, that's what you're heartbroken for?
This what I
Really?
mean. This what I mean by that. We're no different than Aaron and Miriam and
Yeah.
all the other Israelites. Like we don't know our place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't know our place, that means we don't know God's place.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because we
Yeah.
complain about things that are really trivial and makes no sense makes no change in your life
That's
whatsoever.
right.
But not are we quabbling, not just quabbling about it, but our hearts get hardened, and then we have this thing against that person that did that so-called injustice, as I quote my fingers around it,
Mhm.
because it said something what we perceived as offensive. And so instead of trying to find out what's up, we just take it for what it is, and that's it. We don't talk to them for years, right? Between siblings,
Mhm.
husbands and wives, relatives, co-workers. Like, this is how we are as people. So we have a
Yeah.
real rebellious nature because we just think we have to be right about everything. And here we
That's
have
right.
the Almighty Creator who's like, no, I'll go through the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you got to remember, he did all this on a maybe.
That's right, because it wasn't guaranteed that we're all going to say yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hey,
Mm.
Correct.
did this one maybe? Man, that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That hurts. I'm gonna go through Numbers 14. I'm not gonna bother with 13. I know 13 is just as pivotal. It's when they go send out the scouts, 10 of them lie, 2 of them come back with the truth. And so of
You know,
course
13's important, man. We
13
gotta
is
hit
important,
13.
but you know what, man? Brother man's got a schedule to do on the show. So right? At the end of the day, we know that just based on 10, and this is the thing, 10 men lie about it because at the end of the day, their fear is God won't be with them. The
Yeah.
same God that was with them all this time, feeding them, parting seas, destroying their enemies, and so forth. And now you come with this story. And the 2 men, was it Joshua?
Joshua and Caleb.
Joshua and Caleb. Yeah.
And they're like, no, we should be good. Let's go.
Yeah.
This is what that little part of that story that, and I know I wasn't going to touch 13, but now I'm touching it.
Yeah.
There's part of
Well,
that
I
story
just
right
want to
there.
say something real quick. If we want to just kind of jump into 14, I think it's really important because this showed uh, the rebellion stage as well. Because
Yeah,
when those
Yeah.
12 people did go, they left for the 40 days to scale Canaan,
right.
right? And when they did come back, it was true that they had giants there that made them look like grasshoppers. It was described as the Nephilim, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was flowing with milk and honey according to Joshua and Caleb, and the other was like, there's no way we can take this land. These guys are giants. They're strong, and they're trying to deter
It shows heart
Moses.
posture. It shows heart
That's
posture.
right.
And
Yeah.
That's right.
that's what I want to point out, that between of all 12 people, 2 of them had the right heart posture, 10 of them did not.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them had faith in God, 10 of them did not.
Correct.
And it just takes that small number of 10 to cause a whole bunch of chaos for everyone else, because they were the 12 leaders representing the tribes. 10 of those tribes had to deal with that crap because of those 2. And the other 2, Caleb and Joshua, well, because of their faithfulness, they got the blessings going forward in a few other chapters.
Yeah.
And that's just something I just want to touch on. So that rebellion that took place right there with them talking their fears instead. It's one thing they said they had this and that, but yes, Joshua and Caleb are correct. They also had so and so. They
Flowing
did
with
what
milk
they
and honey.
yeah, they did what they normally do, which is like, let's make sure we spread this rumor harder and more than anything else. They spread the negativity more than they spread the positive faith and hope of what God will do, since He already has done it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they pay the price for that. So in 14, right, at this point, this is when everyone's like, oh man, there's giants over there, because the stories that were told them. There's giants over there, and they're a bigger army, blah, blah. So now the whole community is like belly aching,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
right? Weeping aloud and crying all night. Can you imagine weeping aloud and crying all night? This is why Moses got upset every minute. Like, what now? What is it this time? No, we don't have no meat. We don't have, like, they find something to complain about. So, of course, their voices rose in great chorus of protest against Moses and Aaron. And of course, it's where they say, this is where they go with the whole quote of the, if if only we had died in Egypt.
Yeah.
No one forced them to leave. They could have told Moses sometime, I know what you're talking about. I'm staying in Egypt. But they picked up gladly, took all the gold that was offered to them, and skipped down the road out of Egypt happily. And now they're talking about, we should have died there. You could have died there if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't
And
forced.
that's important. That's so important, because you see that, like, when it's good, they will praise you. But the moment something bad happens and it tests your faith in the slightest, they were so quick to turn it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
resonates to our time today. That's how we are.
It does. It does. I think also, them saying that they wish they were back in Egypt, it also probably refers to them just wanting to, like, seeing how it probably was easier to be in Egypt, for them.
Yeah.
What's easier
Yeah, at least this is
it?
something that we know.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was gonna say. That's exactly what they consider easier. Can you imagine
Yeah.
You talk about being used to the abuse.
Yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
abuse I know. I'd rather go back and fear for my life, being whipped and having to pull these pillars and all this
Yeah.
other baloney. But this out
Mhm.
here waiting, I can't deal with this waiting.
I don't know what's coming next. I
I don't
can't
know.
take it.
The anxiety was bigger than their actual need
Yeah.
because they were
And
being
even
fed.
Moses had a heart for them back then because
Moses got to be the best in forgiving outside of God.
yeah, yeah.
Outside of Jesus, he's got to be the best forgiving. This guy threw himself down so many times. Please
And
don't. Please don't. Like, I
yeah.
Yeah, the
instantly.
intercession.
But he doesn't have a hardened heart. Like, I couldn't have been Moses. God knew what time for him to bring me in.
Yeah.
But
I would have
you
failed.
can see how relatable that is today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like like today, it's the exact same thing, and people want to stick to what they know versus what they don't. And even if something provides like an opportunity for them to flourish and do something with themselves, because they know this, it's a safe haven,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Even though they
Yes.
might hate it, they might hate their boss or
Hmm.
a coworker, or
Yeah.
it doesn't even have to be work. They're just used to this
Hmm.
sort of lifestyle. At least
It's
this is
true.
something that I know and I can endure, versus
It's
something
true.
that's
Yeah.
brand new and I have no idea what's to come from it.
It's
But that's
true.
where your faith in God comes in. And
Yeah.
without
Mhm.
that faith in God, this is why you want to go back to what you did know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
No, it's
Yeah.
100%. That's 100%.
Mhm.
People lack
Mhm.
the faith in God, but they'll have faith in themselves. Well, I just took a new course and now I can leave that job. Really?
Mhm, mhm,
You just took a new course.
mhm.
However, you didn't start using it yet, so you don't have experience in it. So,
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
On top of that, also, Joshua and Caleb also like pleaded hard to people. They didn't just make the case of it's really good over there.
Mhm.
They pleaded. They pretty much
They tore their
dropped to the ground and tore
clothes.
their clothing. Like
Yeah,
I'm not tearing my t-shirt for nobody.
yeah,
Right? They
yeah,
tore like that's the love they have for people because they're like no, you guys are it's wrong. They're like
yeah. They
if
know
God
what's
says
about
we
to
can,
come.
yeah, if God
Yeah.
says we can have it, he'll surely he'll do it again.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But it's like
Mhm.
that's
Hmm.
how many people were hardened in their hearts, period, in this whole entire journey. This is what they had to
Hmm.
face. And so it's just something that we do too commonly nowadays. And we just don't seem to understand that we can't just have faith in the things that we can see the ending of. Your true
Mhm.
faith is stuff that you cannot see the ending of.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Mhm.
difficult part.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you know, one thing one of the guys in our group mentioned
Hmm.
in the devotion that we're in, Yusef,
Yeah,
he mentioned that when when life gets good, don't forget what God got you from.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's like, you know, when we talk about how, you know, the Israelites, it seemed that being back in Egypt was something they knew and they felt like it
Hmm.
would have been easier back in Egypt. You know,
Hmm.
they forgot how they were like how they were crying
Quick
out
to
to
forget.
God.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh
quick
yeah,
to forget.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they were quick to forget that.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
And now that they're in the wilderness and they think it's bad that
Hmm.
what they're going
Hmm.
through, but they don't know what God's doing
Yeah,
in that time, and that's why they're complaining, making all these complaints to Moses and all that. So
Hmm.
because of the fact that they forgot. They
yeah,
forgot
exactly.
how bad they had it in Egypt, and how they were crying out to God.
Okay, bueno.
And they
Go
complained.
ahead.
They complained from Egypt all the way to Canaan.
Yes, they did.
Like
Yeah.
the moment the first miracle happened and they got worked harder, they complained.
Yeah,
Before they even crossed the Red Sea, they
yeah.
complained. They
Yeah.
complained for the manna. It was endless.
And we don't
It
know the
Yeah.
was
details. Can
endless.
you imagine just exactly what they're saying? Oh, this Moses
Yeah,
guy is crazy. What were they thinking? This guy sucks. They are probably
yeah,
complaining. Different people can hear, but we're talking about like thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Talk about
yeah,
not being popular and still
Man.
doing what you're doing. And while they're complaining, they're
yeah.
still following you. Can you imagine? Why didn't they break off?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Why didn't they break off? There was enough of them they could have broke off, but everything was fair. Well, if we break off, then right? And it's like this is what we do. Like everything I see them do, I just think back to what we do in society. What have I done? People around me. It's like, oh man, it's still the same thing. It's still rolling. This is why they built pillars and to remind them of the times when God did this or God did that. And it's supposed to be symbolic. And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, because we tend to forget.
Yeah.
But if you have an object that reminds you of, oh yeah, that picture right there is based on when God did this and that for us. That's when we have it up in the front hallway. I'm like, I think I'm gonna start doing that because we tend to forget way too easily.
Yeah. And you know, Yusuf, now that you mention it, you know, about, you know, why didn't the Israelites, like, they could have, you know, they could have decided to go back on their own, you know. And now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, they could have done that, but you know, like, we know that they probably what it was is that part of them knew that Moses did hear from God, like, because they seen the miracles, they seen all of it, and they knew staying with Moses was better than just going back to Egypt on their own, you know. So
now, you know, it would have been an amazing genealogy to check and see if when Jesus came, all those Sadducees and the Pharisees and all the naysayers, all the high priests, all the people that didn't like Jesus, I wonder if they are descendants of those naysayers from the time of Moses. It's highly possible. Of course, we can't know, but I'm just thinking about that the nature, the heart of the people are the exact same thing. We know best. And so man doesn't.
Well, it's highly likely, right? Because the Israelites only stuck to their own sort of thing. And even when they had a sojourner that lived under a master, that sojourner became of the master's name.
That's
right. So it's very, like, I would say it's very high likely. Yeah. And the Pharisees belong to those same Israelites, right?
So talk
it's
about
obviously just a different generation.
Talk about sins of
And I just wanted to point out a little fact that about Joshua and Caleb. So we have to remember that the promise that God made, Caleb comes from the line of Judah, and God made a specific promise to the line of Judah. And we see that Jacob blessed blessed the younger son, Ephraim, and Joshua belongs to the house of Ephraim. So is it coincidental that you see the two blessings that were given to those tribes in terms of flourishing? Right? Because you see Jacob talking about how God is going to bless this person and that person through the tribes. And you see that with Jacob, when he crossed his hand and he let Joseph know, Ephraim will just be a greater. He's just going to have a greater tribe. He's going to have greater children. His works will be greater. And you see this come into fruition here. It's Joshua and Caleb from that same descendant that God blessed and that Jacob blessed.
You gotta love Malik, man.
Yep.
Saying, I love history. He was not playing.
No, man. I'm tracking the genealogy. I'm writing it all down. And I'm keeping it. It just shows God's consistency. You cannot find a plot hole in this book. You cannot find a plot hole. Everything that God has promised, even the most minute things. Like I was just talking to someone yesterday, even when God talked about Ishmael, and when Ishmael had his 12 princes, you see that when the Israelites were even wandering, they couldn't go to these certain cities. It was because of this promise with Ishmael, because all of those people were a form of a descendant of Ishmael. Right? So God let them have what they had. Right? And he just worked through Israel to give them that promise. God is so consistent, regardless of you being a pagan or not. If God makes a promise to you, he will hold you accountable, but he will also follow through with that promise.
That's it.
He's so consistent.
That's showing that the greater consequence is you not following through your word. And that right there, like I've gotta learn that as just a human being, like how important it is. Listen, I had this fear as a young man growing up. I stopped making promises a long time ago. Just because I didn't want to break anything, right?
That's real.
Because
That's real.
It does happen. intentional or unintentional, right? But the consequences are extreme from it. I'm not saying people not to make promises, but that's sure just how unrighteous I was walking. So like, nope, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to make no promises. Now it's a different story. Like my word will be my word, and if I slip on it, I'll be able to see prior to slipping on it or right away, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before, you could not get me close to this.
Yeah. How many times have we broken our own promises to ourselves?
To ourselves.
That's right.
Every January 3rd, diet is off the table. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, come on, man. It's like,
Mhm.
That's
it's
right.
something else. But as we go through 14, and
Mhm.
they're still calling about the whole, being back in Egypt. I want to point out as well, now in the modern times, what do we say? Like the crazy things we say, it's better the devil you know.
Oh. Oh yeah.
It's like they're pretty much talking about the bad thing. Yes, Egypt was bad, but we know it. Like that's the
Mhm.
reason. So as they're still making that complaint, um, Moses intercedes on their behalf, of course.
Mhm.
And when he intercedes on their behalf, he points out, um, what will the Egyptians think when they hear about it? Meaning that the Lord told him that, said to Moses, how long will these people treat me with contempt? This is the Lord to Moses. Will they never believe me? Even after
Yeah.
all the miraculous signs I have done among them, I will disown them and destroy them with a plague. Then I will make you into a
Mhm.
nation greater and mightier than they are. Just like we are talking about, Malik was mentioning that he keeps his word no matter what. So even if he wipes out all these people, they're not done. He's
Mhm.
like, he'd still make a greater nation out of Moses, regardless of him taking out these
But this
people.
was also a test to Moses because you saw this in Exodus 32:10.
Yes,
He said the same thing to Moses.
yes,
He will destroy these people and make a greater nation.
yeah.
And instead of saying, you know what, that sounds like a good idea. These people have been getting on every single one of my nerves.
Exactly.
I know that I can have ground control and start over. Run it. Instead of saying that, instead of
Oh
saying that, you
man.
see Moses intercede and he
Yeah,
prays on their behalf.
his heart is
Yeah.
And
great.
that shows the faithfulness and the love
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Moses. So it was, in my eyes, it was sort of like a test because it was like, okay, I made you a God to these people.
yeah.
When I come out with my anger and my anger is burning, what are
Mhm.
you going to do with it?
Mm-hmm.
How will you
Yeah.
stand with it? Are you going to be agreeable or are you going to plead to my love? And you see
Yeah.
how prayer changes God's mind,
Yeah.
right?
And
Mhm.
this is the thing. So, oh man, I wrote a piece a while back, and I was like, I don't know. Like I've heard in churches, they say like God never changes his mind. Da, da, da. It's not that God doesn't change his mind. He knows the outcome to all choices.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why would he have to change his mind? He has the
Mhm.
ability for every single thing. So you're right. He puts it forward in such a way that it really depends on how you talk, how you ask, how you plead, how you pray, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
He's not upset with you when it comes to anger, but you come into him, it's a discussion for him. So
Yeah.
Moses objected to what God said, and this is
Mhm.
same chapter 14, verse 13. And Moses so wise, but his heart is so pure. He's like, what will the Egyptians think when they hear about it? He asked the Lord. They know full well the power you displayed in rescuing your people from Egypt. Meaning, one thing people don't think about is after the Pharaoh's army drowns, I don't know who got to return, if anyone did. But Egypt
Mm.
must have been in some turmoil. Like, wait, where's everybody? What happened?
Where's our whole army?
Where's our army? There's no Israelites return. What happened? It's like
Yeah.
that's extreme, right? And
Yeah.
so here's Moses saying, like, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna say when they saw you do all these plagues and kept your promises to get your people out, only to destroy them?
Mm.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
It's like
pleading to
now,
God's love. He's reminding
exactly.
God of the love for the people, right? And if you smite
Mhm.
them down in anger, you're going to be remembered as an angry God rather than your loving
Right,
God,
right. Which is what
Mhm.
he
right?
is.
So
He's
this
a
plea
loving
was
God.
very important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And so,
to piggyback what you said, Malik, about you know like Moses and like how he could have agreed with with God about destroying the people, but like
Mhm.
yeah, like it could have been like I see how it could have been a test because
yeah,
Mhm.
God knew Moses' heart And so,
Correct.
when God gave that, request to Moses, of course, probably God already knew, since he already had Moses' heart, he knew that God was not that type of God to destroy his people. And Moses had a heart for the people as well, even though they complained against him and all of that stuff. So yeah, I could see how that could have been a test.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, this is very important because, and I don't know if this sounds blasphemous, right? But just stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
God is all knowing, which we all know, but we have the ability to still surprise God because He gave us the ability of choice. And when He sees our heart, because He exists outside of time, He already knows where that's going to go.
Right.
But when He comes back in and our heart changes, when He comes back out of time, it changes that entire route. So we have the ability, and God has to, it's like chess. God sort of has to move as humans move. And that's why He kind of dabbles on these random tests with people to see if, is your heart changing? Is it hardening? Is it softening? Is it the same?
I
So
still
God
think
will
I
throw
still
out
think he
these
knows your
random
moves.
little tests.
No, I hear that, but I still think he knows your moves. Like even if when you a chess master is playing against someone, he knows your 10 moves you have, so that he can build
100%.
surprise. Right, so that's
100%.
the only thing. I don't think we can surprise him. But the fact that he gives us the ability to choose is mind blowing because we don't even do that with
Yeah.
kids. We can't have
Yeah.
the ability to choose between two things. Right? He gives us the ability to choose through all things. Go ahead, choose the life you want. Choose the
Yeah.
path you want to go on.
100%. And He will
You know,
let you live with that, right? And
yeah.
this sort of goes back to how God shows us that He gives us choice and how it could kind of surprise Him. I won't say it's surprising like, oh, I didn't see that coming. It's not that. It's
You're gonna hold
how
on to the
what
surprise,
we
right?
do with it. He's already thought
Yeah.
of. No, I'm just saying like He's
Yeah,
thought of every single outcome,
right.
regardless of what you chose. But you have the ability to choose that path. For
You're talking about
example, like
your final
when
outcome to it. Okay.
exactly when he put the tree of knowledge in Eden, did He purposely put it there knowing they were going to eat it? No, He gave them the choice,
Yeah.
because if God never put anything bad without repercussions, we technically would not have choice. We have no choice but to live good. But God
Yeah.
gave us the ability to make a bad choice, right? And even though He sees the outcome and He knows, if he does this, if she does this, then I know it to be this,
Well,
right? And He
I think
gives
he
us
gives
multiple
I think
options.
he gives the ability to make the right choice, but the opposite of that
Exactly.
is the bad choice, right? Which is what he doesn't want us to necessarily do so. But even when we do make the bad choice, his will still be done. It won't be circumvented. Like we'll still be
Exactly.
like for instance,
Exactly.
he wants me to get baptized. All right, went ahead and got baptized because no, Lord, you're right. I need to get baptized. And then he's like, but you're gonna go you're gonna go Israelite on me, aren't you? And 17 years I have tripped up, do my own thing still.
Yeah.
And but he knew the day was gonna come and I was like, nah, what was I doing?
Mhm.
And as
Yeah.
soon as you get back on the right path of things, he starts using your life if you submit yourself to him properly in so many
Yeah.
different ways. But like he knows all of my screws are going to be
Yeah.
for the 17 years. But he
Mhm.
knew that after 17 years, there's something else he can do with me. And folks, I'm not talking about this podcast. Let's talk about period in life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about it.
Mhm.
I want to jump
Yeah.
to 16 real quick because 16 is really it's kind of nasty. But
Yeah, for sure.
because it comes
For
out of
sure.
nowhere, right? 16 is titled Korah's Rebellion, and Korah was the son of Izhar, descendant of Kohath, son of Levi. Everyone recognizes Levi's name. But he more or less go ahead and he talks to other sons of other tribes, right? For instance, like Peleth, which was he was the tribe of Reuben, part of the tribe of Reuben. So bottom line is that he was talking to particular sons because he was talking to pretty much incite a riot, a rebellion against Moses. Right. So along with 250 other leaders of the community, not just some regular entry dudes, leaders of the
Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
the same type of people are being knocked on and they're not paying attention to what's going on at all. Right. They're all prominent leaders and members of the assembly. And they pretty much united against Moses and Aaron. Right. And so it goes in verse 3 in chapter 16, it goes, let's see. They united against Moses and Aaron and said, You have gone too far. The whole community of Israel has been set apart by the Lord, and he is with all of us. What right do
Right.
you have to act as though you are greater than the rest of the Lord's people? Now, mind you, does this not sound familiar like Aaron and Miriam? Right?
Well,
I'm
to
just
me,
saying their complaints.
this chapter was very important because, I mean, they're all important, but this shows kind of like quote unquote Israel without a promise. Because you see, God said that this generation here, when you're wondering, this generation of adults will not come into the promised land. It's going to be their children.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
now you see these adults, these elders, knowing full well they're not going to be going into the promised land anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What they're really like, how
Mm-hmm.
they're really going to behave. Because it's like, if I'm not going to come into the promised land, then forget it,
Yeah.
right? Like I could just commit my own will now. If I'm not going to see what God promised, this milk and honey and all this, then I can do whatever. I can truly rebel. And you see the hearts of these elder Israelites at that
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know,
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it when you're talking about it, but I recognize something that in those times, an adult was 20 and up. And I
Mm-hmm.
say
Yes.
that based on the fact of how he separated the age groups for the armies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
20 and up.
Yes.
So when does society get with this whole 18 thing? It's like all about insurance and money and all, you know, it's always for another reason, right? But 20, you're an adult.
Yeah, that comes from the Elizabeth
Elizabethan era.
era. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You'll see like when the kings and queens were marrying their children and
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff too. Yeah, it's a whole history thing I can get into, but another time.
Yeah. Another podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so at the end of the day, it's like they're complaining against Moses, of course, because you know it's what they do, right? And here we go, my man Moses. Moses hears what they're saying, and what does he do? Doesn't ball up his hands into a fist. He
Yeah.
fell face down on the ground, and then he said to Korah and his followers, "Tomorrow morning the Lord will show us who belongs to Him and who is holy." Right?
Mhm.
Mm.
He comes to a humble place, so they know like, okay, he's not trying to fight them, but he says straight up, it's like tomorrow morning. And here's the thing, he's making a declaration what the Lord will do the next day because he has so much faith. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
just think about our prayers, like, Lord, I know you can do this, and then we don't put a timestamp on it because we're
Mhm.
afraid that if we say it's a date that's too early, he's not going to show up, and we're like, womp womp. God doesn't know me or doesn't love me, but he's
Mm.
like, tomorrow morning he'll let us know who's who and what's what,
Mhm.
who's of him and who's
And you
not
could
of him.
see that. Yes, and you can see that Korah at this point is gassed up because he is of the Levi.
Yeah,
So he is technically God's first son, quote unquote, right? Because God made the Levites
the Levites, yeah.
personal to him.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that Korah is gassed up on this. And he's like, well, we're also of God and all this. He comes with that sort of mentality, right?
But there's that thing
And
you just pointed out. God anoints them as the chosen people to be the priests. But
that's
he's
right.
taking on like, you know, it's something he did. He could have picked
Yes.
any of the tribes.
Mm.
Mhm.
Mm.
But we take it on as though, well, look at me, you didn't do none of that.
Yeah.
And so that right
Mhm.
there, that false self entitlement is what was his downfall in the first place.
Mhm.
Right. So no, that's a great point out right there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's exactly why he says all of the congregation are holy, every one of them, right? Because God made this claim when he set up all the tribes, what each tribe was in charge of. And these Levites, even though they weren't inheriting certain things
mhm,
like the other tribes were,
they
because
got
they were
everything.
of God,
Yeah.
they exactly they
They
get
got
a tenth of
everything.
everything. They all got gassed up, and that's what led Korah to saying, you know, we're pretty much equal. I'm just as important, Moses,
Yeah.
and you've
Yeah.
gone far enough. You have led us, and because you have led us here, and we're not even going into the promised land, what are we even here for? So he's coming with the mentality, this is where your leadership has led us, right?
Mm.
So this is that rebel in his heart, right?
Yeah.
It's the blame game, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no responsibility whatsoever. It's easier to point that finger and say,
Mm-hmm.
you as the leader has done this to
Yeah.
us.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
so funny though. They believe they're equal to Moses, yes, and they never talk directly to God. They always bring the complaint to Moses, proving that you're not equal. So it's like so crazy. Um, so pretty much yes. At the end of the day, Moses tells them tomorrow, Lord, let us know who's who and what's what, and he lets them know because now Moses feeling a little vexed. He's like, you Levites are the ones who gone too far, right? And I'm trying to see where God comes next day. So yes. So then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, but they replied, "We refuse to come before you. Isn't it enough that you brought us out of Egypt, a land flowing with milk and honey?" It was never described as that.
Man.
These are two more people that are rebelling along with Korah, right? And the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us here in this wilderness, and that you now treat us like your subjects. He's been mastering over you this whole time and pretty much treating you well, even though you guys always despise him in some way, shape, or form.
And the fact that I just want to say the fact that they were calling Egypt land flowing with milk and honey,
Lies.
they were getting scraps.
Yeah,
what they know about that?
They were.
Well, now that they're not coming into that promised land that they thought they were entitled to, suddenly dying in the wilderness, Egypt looks like milk and honey, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the joke is, they were never persecuted in the wilderness. Like, no one came after them. No one came and blindsided them or attacked them. People knew they're out in the wilderness, and no one went out there. And the thing is, they didn't even think about building anything for themselves to make it sustainable. Like, if we're here, we might as well stay here and make the most of it, because they didn't have that kind of heart. Their heart was about complaining, not making the best of the situation at all.
Well, you see that they tried to take Canaan anyway. After they, see in like the in 14 there, they were like, okay, well, God promised to us, so we're gonna try it anyway. Moses, Aaron was telling them, no, don't do it. God ain't with you. They're like, no, we're gonna do it anyway. And I checked the distance that they had to run, and from Paran, where they were coming from, to Canaan, and they had to run from Penang all the way back to Horma, and that was almost 100 kilometers. It was like 90 kilometers. They got pushed back from the armies of Canaan.
That is a distance from me and my in-laws and back to my house.
Brother, that's from my house to like my parents' house. That is far.
It's almost a 2-hour drive. These guys didn't have a car. So
they were on feet running, and they chased them all the way back.
Yep,
they pursued them all the way back to Horma.
Yeah. Cardio for days.
Yeah. If your calves are burning,
oh my god. A fat Israelite, is that
no, man, that don't exist.
I don't think that exists.
If you were chubby, that was it for you. That was the end of your story.
Just King right here, I can't deal with this.
Yeah. We're out here complaining about the, a 10K run. People run
man.
You think about the Israelites, it's like, yo, you gotta quadruple that run.
Yeah, man.
And
so Moses then lets Aaron know, you and your not Aaron, let's Korah know, you and your 250 men come here tomorrow with your burning incense. So starting at 18 in chapter 16 numbers. So each of these men prepared an incense burner, lit the fire, and placed incense on it. Then they all stood at the entrance of the tabernacle, while Moses and Aaron, meanwhile, Korah had stirred up the entire community against Moses and Aaron, and such a repeating theme, eh? And they all gathered at the tabernacle entrance. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to the whole community, and the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "Get away from all these people, so that I may instantly destroy them."
Man.
Moses and Aaron, because now Aaron's in line, Aaron's not playing anymore. Now Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground. "Oh God," they pleaded, "you are the God who gives breath to all creatures. Must you be angry with all the people when only one man sins?" And the Lord said to Moses, "Then tell all the people to get away from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Those are the guys from the beginning he got to talk to. So Moses got up and rushed over to the tents. I just want to remind people, Moses is not young at this time. He's not young. By the time they got to to building the golden calf, homeboy was old. Okay, so
Yeah, because you gotta think he was 40 years in Egypt, spent
yes,
another 40 years in Midian
Yeah.
before going back to
before
Egypt.
going
So
back to Egypt to
so
do
Moses was already 80,
at
at
least,
least 80 when he was going to set them free.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So you imagine this old man with a beard and white hair running around telling people that, you know,
Yeah, back problems.
but, right? Moses, he's described as Moses got up and rushed over. I am not even close to that age. I'm not getting up to rush nowhere. I'm getting up to make sure I got my feet steady. Right? And Moses
If I
like,
sneeze the wrong way, my back's going out.
no, for real. That does happen to people. Moses yells out, quick, as he told the people, get away from the tents of these wicked men and don't touch anything that belongs to them. If you do, you will be destroyed for their sins. So, you know, people of Israel, they do get it after a while, right? So all the people stood back real quick from the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abraham. Then Dathan and Abraham came out and stood at the entrances of their tents. So they must have been inside chilling like it's nothing, and then they realize, oh wait, why are all the shadows moving away from our tents? They step out, right? And together with their wives and children and little ones. And Moses said, this is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these things that I have done, for I have not done them on my own. That right there needs to be like just put on everyone's wall, because sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and forget that everything we get to do is through him, right? Moses says, if these men die a natural death, or if nothing unusual happens, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord does something entirely new, and the ground opens its mouth and swallows them and all their belongings, and they go down alive into the grave, then you will know that these men have shown contempt of the Lord. He was very specific to how they would be destroyed if he is the one.
Yes. And this was very key for Moses because every time Yahweh does perform something, it's usually a fire that comes out
Right.
and engulfs that person. But Moses let them know, this is how you know I am God's chosen.
Yeah.
I am going to speak something that God has never done, and you will see him perform this. Specifically this that you have never seen before.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it came into fruition.
Now
Right?
this is what, if people people with the wrong hearts would want to have this ability to do, and they'd be smiting everybody around them. But for those of us who are followers, this is that kind of heart we can have when we want to bless people. When we want to ask God, intervene with this person, let them see you for who you are, and blah blah blah. This is what God moves towards, right? Because that's a righteous prayer. This one in particular is a righteous prayer as well, even though it sounds very damning and very destructive. But he's saying, hey, you guys don't believe that God is working in the midst of us, and he's chosen me to do so. So here's how you're going to clearly see it, right? And mind you, these men are out here with their wives and kids, little ones, right? The entire family, right? What verse I just leave off at? Get so caught up in the story sometimes. Okay, so yes, so he tells them about being eaten up by the earth, so forth. So he had hardly finished speaking the words when the ground suddenly split open beneath them. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed the men, along with their households and all their followers who were standing with them, and everything they owned. So they went down alive into the grave, along with all their belongings. The earth closed over them, and they all vanished from among the people of Israel. All the people around them fled when they heard their screams. The earth will swallow us too, they said. Then fire blazed forth from the Lord. There you go. There you go, Malik. Lord, that's the Lord's signature. Yeah, put some fire on that. Then the fire blazed from forth from the Lord and burned up the 250 men who were offering incense. At the end of the day, those 250 still got hit. And talk about someone who's a sharpshooter, right? God made sure the 250 got it. Made sure the families. This is the thing about if you have poor leadership and that's who you're following, you'll follow along with them too. You gotta be mindful, right? And I mean that scene right there, that's like the opening of the sea. That's supposed to cure anyone from wanting to sin against God. But these are the Israelites, so they'll be back. So once everyone sees this, I can't imagine the fear that grips people when they saw that this took place, because they heard the rumors and the mumbling and wondering, well, what's going to happen? But as soon as he said, hey, those who don't understand when them move aside, they had an opportunity to change their minds, which means they'd have to change their hearts, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
They stood there with them like, yeah, this is what we said. We'll see. And you saw. It's one thing to be struck down dead. It's another thing to be eaten alive. Like, that is just, your last thoughts are screaming and seeing the terror and the horror and seeing your family. No, I don't want to get into details. But yeah, that's pretty horrific. That is pretty horrific.
It's a horror scene because you literally just watch the earth open up and swallow these men.
Mm-hmm.
And then not only that, but the 250 that, the elders that were there, they got taken up with that fire. To watch that happen, that is like, that's something that can only be described in a movie.
Yeah. That's the only part.
So to see that firsthand, to see that firsthand it puts a different type of fear in your heart. Different type of fear.
And this is what we're supposed to have for God, but we forget sometimes because He had them burnt in one alive in front of us. We forget that He will let certain things happen based on your decisions, your choices, and your actions. Right? After all that takes place, the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, to pull all the incense burners from the fire, for they are holy." The incense burners were more holy than the people. The incense burners didn't perish. It got pulled up. I'm like, how we talk about not let a rock cry out? I can't let an incense burner be more pure than me. Like that's just great. Like the Lord's like, no. The incense burners are good. You can still use those.
Because that's God's specific fire.
Yes.
Right. It wasn't just a fire that they put up. It was God's fire. So he blessed those coals.
Yes.
In a way, right? So it's not like just throw water on it, it's all good. No, you gotta use this as a reminder. Which is leading up into your next point coming up.
Well, I was gonna say, pretty much you have to look and see just how special we are supposed to be. That if He can designate coal, fire, and lanterns or incense to be special, then why are we taking ourselves as though we're nothing and it's no big deal? We're more precious than the birds and all the animals He made, and yet so we don't treat ourselves that way. We don't act that way. We don't treat other people that way, and that's the mistake we do too often. So anyways, so Eleazar, of course, collected the 250 bronze incense burners that had been used by the men who died in the fire, and they used the bronze from those as well to hammer them out into thin sheets to overlay the altar. Yeah, that's right. Because they did a lot of things with the altar, like
exactly.
Yeah, building upon it.
That was that reminder. That was that reminder.
And that's when it was declared that no one who was not a descendant of Aaron should ever enter the Lord's presence to burn incense. If anyone did the same thing, would happen to them, as happened to Korah and his followers. So the Lord's instruction to Moses was carried out, and we all know what happened with Aaron's sons.
Yeah. And they were of Aaron's sons, and they were allowed to do that. They just didn't do it at the appointed time that they were supposed to.
Exactly.
Right? And that was people that were even allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Come to find out, you're not even supposed to be doing this, but you're gonna, all right, try it.
If they did that today, the grace would be falling upon them, right? If they recognized they did something wrong. But back then it was different. And so stop taking Jesus' blessing upon our lives as just everything.
For granted. Yeah.
It's not. It's so not. Any last things you want to wrap up with? Oh, actually, no. Before we do that wrap up, we forgot there was still one more quickness that took place amongst the people.
Yeah, they weren't done. They weren't done because the next day they were back at it.
Yeah, the next day.
The next day, you just watched the earth open, swallow. You just watched God's personal fire come out and do these things. And the very next day, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
So Moses and Aaron came and stood in front of the tabernacle, and the Lord said to Moses, "Get away from all these people so that I can instantly destroy them." But Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground, and Moses said to Aaron, "Quick, take an incense burner and place burning coals on it from the altar. Lay incense on it and carry it out among the people to purify them and make them right with the Lord. The Lord's anger is blazing against them. The plague has already begun. Aaron did as Moses
So you
told him.
notice that Moses couldn't even speak to God at this point.
No, because
How did he even wait for the intercession?
It's
God
not
was saying
next
to Moses, there is no talking here.
Yeah, it wasn't next week, it wasn't next month. It's the next day. So Aaron did as Moses told him and ran out among the people. The plague had already begun to strike down the people, but Aaron burned the incense and purified the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague stopped. But by this time, though, 14,700 people died in that plague, in addition to those who had died in the affair involving Korah. Then, because the plague had stopped, Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tabernacle. Like, after they saw that, they still went ahead and rebelled. And so God just like, okay, let me start. And if they weren't obedient and wise enough between Moses and Aaron, they would just continue wiping everyone else. But their intercession, God honored and stopped the plague. Can you imagine Aaron is in between the living and the dead?
Yeah, like I'm just picturing a wave just taking down people, and Aaron kind of just runs in between and stops that wave from approaching, right?
This is the same Aaron that's done quite a few things on his own, but God honors what he says to him and allows Aaron to have that kind of intercession because his heart has changed. Man, I don't know about y'all, but I'm trying best to stop sinning. God has been way too good to me, and I'm living in a time where he knew my weakly self could not manage back then. I don't know. And it just starts with the simplest things, like just be good to one another, spend the time with God to know him, because your goodness is not enough on its own, but his goodness through you is more than exceptional, and it really does bless people that way. And we just have to know how to give it to him all the time. And he doesn't care if we come arguing and grumbling, but as long as we come to him, not going amongst other people, whispering in ears and causing dissension and expecting something good to happen out of it, but talking to him, have that relationship to talk to him, because that relationship is so important. Without it, you might as well be dead.
That's right.
Because nothing you do will be of any worth.
And let that be a reminder as well that just because you say God's name and you have quote unquote faith doesn't mean you're of God. Because you see Jesus even tell people, just because you're performing miracles in my name doesn't mean I know you.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
He rebuked the people that tried to do works in his name, did works in his name, but never did the works.
Yeah.
Right? Never lived it out.
The real work is the relationship with him.
Exactly.
That's real work. Exactly. Man, I want to thank you both for taking this time. I know this is probably the longest.
It is.
But that's okay, people. Malik, I want to thank you so much, man, for bringing your insights and
thank you, Malik.
your discipline into
digging thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Wesley, as per usual.
Yeah.
Always a good show with you. Thank you all again for this episode. And join us back next week when we have another topic of great conversation. We appreciate you guys coming out. Everyone have a great one.
Yes, take care.